Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and welcome back to Guilds of Ravnica preview season. We are zooming right through this set, but there's still so much to talk about, so sit back, relax, and get ready for the spoiler ride of your life. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, remember to hit that like button, it helps out a lot. Divine Visitation is 3 of anything and 2 white for an enchantment. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead? What? Wizards, what? Divine Visitation is straight dumb sauce. This card is nonsense. You turn all of your incoming tokens into 4/4 angels with vigilance and flying. That's a lot of 1/1s that get a better life. Holy butts. In any token deck, this is a win condition straight up without a doubt. Any tokens? I still can't get over that. This in a standard Saproling deck, gross. Selesnya tokens of any kind, gross. But I think my favorite place for something like this, Edgar friggin' Markov. His Eminence trigger goes off all the time, and from the safety of the command zone. Divine Visitation turns all of those 1/1 vampires into 4/4 angels. You get a free 4/4 angel whenever you play a vampire in that deck. Let that sink in for a second. Just wow. Divine Visitation is a mythic for a reason. The card's truly busted. It's unreal. Hatchery Spider is 5 of anything and 2 green for a 5/7 spider with reach and undergrowth. When you cast this spell, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. You may put a green permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. As already mentioned by many, this is like Genesis Hydra, but with way more restrictions on it. I wanna like the card because I love the idea of getting something giant onto the battlefield for free, but the hoops you have to jump through to make that happen, they're rough. You need 7 mana for this because you have to cast it for undergrowth to work, so no reanimation of any kind. Then you need a massive amount of creatures in your yard, and even after all of that, you can only pick a green permanent card. It's so narrow, it's crazy narrow. The card's powerful, but very specific. It's too specific for my taste. Sprouting Renewal is 3 mana for a sorcery with Convoke. Choose one. Create a 2/2 elf knight token with vigilance, or destroy target artifact or enchantment. I love that this has Convoke, but the problem is that it is also sorcery speed. Something good, something bad. The flexibility is nice here. Get a 2/2 or naturalize, hard to argue against the value there, but sorcery speed, it's the only thing I'm worried about here. Having to use this in a main phase is pretty rough. It takes away attackers and blockers unless you add a 2/2 to the board. I don't know, I'm conflicted. Maybe Convoke makes this worth playing. Jury is out for me still. Possibly good for standard sideboard tech against powerful artifacts. I don't know, we'll see. Assure is 2 hybrid green and white mana for an instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. That creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Assemble is 4 of anything, 1 green and 1 white for an instant. Create 3 2/2 green and white elf knight tokens with vigilance. This is another solid example of a versatile split card. This covers so much ground. You either have a really quick combat trick to help protect one of your most important creatures, or you get a late game super bomb that floods the boards with vigilant 2/2s. I am loving these split cards. They really are like playing 2 cards in one, 2 distinct options, 2 unique mana costs. I'll never stop saying it, versatility is power. Join Shields is 3 of anything, 1 green and 1 white for an instant. Untap all creatures you control. They gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Geez, we've fallen a long way from heroic intervention, but here we are. I don't care about untapping all your creatures. I don't care at all. It doesn't matter to me one bit. Now when it's 3 more mana to do it and in multiple colors, I find this card infuriating. I can't think of anything else besides heroic intervention and just how much worse this card is than that one. 5 mana instead of 2 mana in multiple colors just to add untapping, and it doesn't even target all permanents. God, I miss heroic intervention so much. Rough translation, Glorious Opportunity is 1 of anything, 1 red and 1 white for an instant. Creatures you control gain indestructible. Take an extra turn after this one. At the beginning of that turn's end step, you lose the game. Sure, Boros, fantastic. The card's hilarious. I think the coolest thing about it is that it gives your creatures indestructible for the rest of the game. This isn't some emergency errata situation. They legit all get indestructible, probably because you're about to lose the game. Have you ever been in a situation where you're attacking your opponent and you just need 1 more turn to win? Just 1 more attack. Glorious Opportunity does just that. In exchange for an automatic game loss if you don't win, you're given the opportunity of a lifetime, literally. This effect fits into Boros really well. It's like a morale anthem for your soldiers. Get some Sundial of the Infinite or Getting of the Trial shenanigans going on. This card could be hysterical in something like Commander. Big fan of cards like this. I enjoyed Glorious End, so yeah, this works for me. Justice Strike is 1 red and 1 white for an instant. Target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Love this card, especially because it's instant speed. For reference, we do have Inner Struggle that is instant speed, but it's much more expensive. Then we have cards like Kiku Shadow, which is cheap but sorcery speed. Justice Strike is the best of both worlds. Solid removal, easy to cast in a Boros deck, and instant speed. It's going to hit a lot of relevant creatures in any meta, which means this will be fine removal in Commander, Limited, maybe even Standard. The most hilarious target for this I've seen so far is definitely Blightsteel Colossus though. It deals infect damage, so kinda wrecks itself. Gotta love the synergy. Beacon Bolt is 1 of anything, 1 blue and 1 red for a sorcery with Jumpstart. It deals damage to target creature equal to the total number of instant and sorcery cards you own in exile and in your graveyard. Another obvious Jumpstart synergy card that comes with Jumpstart itself. It's hard to get more is it than that. The Beacon's okay though. Sorcery speed is a bit of a bummer for sure, but in a spell-slinging counterburn style deck, this is straight up removal. Damage-based removal, of course, but still removal. I'd like to see this in whatever blue-red spells deck exists in Standard post-rotation, but I think a sorcery speed spell really knocks it down a peg for Standard play, but we'll see. ThousandYear Storm is 4 of anything, 1 blue and 1 red for an enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. Okay, just to get this out of the way right now, copies don't add to the storm count, only the spell you cast does. But that being said, this enchantment basically says all instant and sorcery cards you have just get Storm. Of course, it does only count your cast, but still, that's a lot of value in an instant and sorcery-based deck. We're looking at Kess, Descendant Mage, Riku, Mizzix, Melek, you get the point. It's a clunky enchantment for sure, but it comes with a huge payoff in the long term. It's nice for casual Commander. Discovery is 1 of anything and 1 blue and black hybrid mana for a sorcery. Surveil 2, then draw a card. Dispersal is 3 of anything, 1 blue and 1 black for an instant. Each opponent returns a non-land permanent they control with the highest converted mana cost among permanents they control to its owner's hand, then discards a card. Yes, Discovery's definitely sweet, let's start there. It is 2 mana, but in a black deck, this lets you go pretty deep for the cost, especially early game. 2 mana isn't much, you can fill your yard, filter through your deck, it's a win-win. And because it's a hybrid cost, there's no reason a Golgari deck can't run this for Discovery alone, so strong. Now, Dispersal is a swollen summon, it'll make everyone really angry, but the tempo gain is undeniable. Not only that, but you net a card from their discard too, so you're setting them back a bunch of mana, possible attack steps, and taking a card. Dispersal's funny as heck in Commander, that is where it will shine, but Discovery? This has a real chance in Standard, it's a pretty good cantrip. Thief of Sanity is 1 of anything, 1 blue and 1 black for a Spectre with flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of that player's library, exile 1 of them face down, then put the rest into their graveyard. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may look at it, you may cast it, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast that spell. Okay, this card's awesome. I love the straight to the graveyard. 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer has Spectre written all over it, so I'm fine there. But wow, that trigger! So much better than Spectres usually get. This time you get to basically surveil 3 for your opponent and keep something. You don't have to show them what it is, and you get to cast it whenever and however you want. That's so much value. Now, obviously this can die to a lot of removal, but I do not care about that. Thief of Sanity and Commander, gross, limited, super gross. I'm a huge fan. Sign me up to steal Sanity all day. Unmoored Ego is 1 of anything, 1 blue and 1 black for a sorcery. Choose a card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles their library, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. Sure. Why not? The card's hilarious for one reason. It says choose a card name, doesn't say non-land card name, which means Urza's Tower goodbye, any non-basic land goodbye, even basic lands, whatever, you get to remove whatever you want. Now, they do get to draw a bunch of cards after you do that, but if you decimate your opponent's win condition, you don't care about that at all. Cards like this take advantage of a known meta. If you're a control deck and you know your local meta well, this card is going to be a nightmare for your opponents. You could cast this blind and annihilate their best cards. Seriously, the set hates Tron so much, it's actually really funny. I like this for Modern. Hate cards are powerful, and this ends all combo decks, most decks based on fragile synergies. It's great, I'm a huge fan. I honestly thought we had seen the best of the set, but I was clearly wrong. Today we were hammered with some powerful mythic spells, disruption, just solid cards. What a set this is turning out to be. I'd expect nothing less from Ravnica. I am loving it. How are you feeling? Anything stand out to you today as being particularly devastating? Let me know what you think in the comments and we'll talk about it. And as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. Guilds of Ravnica booster boxes are still pre-ordering for $91 each. That's such a good price if you haven't pulled the trigger yet. You've seen how good this set is going to be, so jump in, take the dive. If you don't have a local game store or yours is charging way too much, click the link on the screen. Helps the channel. You get an amazing price for great cards. Everyone wins. It's basically the best. Enjoy. What a set this is turning out to be. I'd expect nothing less from Ravnica. I am loving it. How are you feeling? Anything sensitive? Well?